Oh, Suki now. Hell yeah, I know my dogs are watching. And if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, I know you will be, because we're going to go on one epic adventure every single month for the next 45 months. And every one of y'all are invited. That's the Get Busy Live Project 55. That's right. Once in my life, I've gone on 54 months in a row. And that streak was snapped very inconveniently, and I didn't make number 55. So now that you, people all around the world, chipped in to save my life, now I'm going to try to pay you back by paying it forward. And I'm going to try to beat my former streak of 54 months in a row of at least one epic adventure by going 55 in a row. We started last September, and this month we're on month 11. Next month will be month 12. Next September will be month 13. And we're going to keep on cruising all the way to 55. And you're welcome to join us along. We're here every Thursday at 9 Eastern, the Get Busy Living Project. That's what we're all about. But tonight, we're proud to welcome to the HSWA family a shining star and a true gem who's making a real impact in my hometown community. Also, we're going to give you a peek behind the curtain of what goes on over here from the eyes of someone who's gotten up close and personal with what it takes to help Swede and to get busy living. But first, since nothing is worth having if it isn't worth sharing, please help me welcome to the stage one of my all-time favorite humans. She's a blogger and an entrepreneur out of Los Angeles. She is the one that makes Unblah Yourself go around, and she is my co-pilot on this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, the dazzling D-Rex. Yeah, welcome back, D-Rex.
That was different this time. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And I'm so happy for all of the things we have planned today, because this is a very exciting day. Boy, we have such amazing people to chat with and amazing things to talk about. I really want to get right to it. But did you just say that you were going to show us a peek behind your curtain?
You know, I did get you to say pubes on the internet one time. Don't get me started, girl.
I won't say it again.
Say what?
Can't make it happen.
What? Say what?
No. Well, thank you for everybody who's here and ready to go today. It's going to be a lovely evening. Settle in. We have to chat about Mabel Howard, our classmate from Erie, Pennsylvania, who is doing incredible things in our hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania, that I can't even believe. And her viewpoint on life is just something that you need to hear. So I'm very excited to have her on in just a bit. Amazing vibe from this woman. And also we're going to be talking with our teammate Caro, which I'm very excited to have her on. And she's going to tell us all about what's going on in Swedetopia over there.
I wish.
I think that's a new term for us. But what were you going to say?
No, I was going to remind you that if you're in the comments, please speak up. You're probably going to have a little bit be curious about some of the things we're going to talk about. Super excited. Seriously, what we're trying to do with this mission and this podcast is make an impact. And we like to think that we're moving along well. But you want to talk about somebody who's making an impact. Our guest tonight is making an impact. Seriously. So if you're in the comments, let us know you're there. Please do participate. Raise your hand, and we're going to try to keep in touch with you and make it, because it's all about you guys. We're really here for you. We're trying to use this platform as an audience for the big things we're trying to do long term. And while all that stuff is getting built in the background, we're just trying to communicate with you guys in the foreground. But first, speaking of making impact, there's a special person that's making an impact in my life right behind closed doors. So what I want to do, boys and girls, you've met Carol before. She's been with me since the injury happened. She was in the ICU in Malaysia with me. And now she's back, and she is helping me with my fitness routine. She's helping me with my food routine. She's helping me in so many different ways. She's a voice for us. She is such a huge impact in my direct everyday life. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast, the lovely Miss Carolina Salceda. Yeah.
Hello. I thought we were doing that. I thought we were doing that. Hi, Caro.
Hi,
Nice to see your
guys.
lovely face.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here again.
So, Carol, I want you to do what you have articulated so well to me. How much you've been such a huge help to me. And to try to articulate how much you've been a help to me is not an easy thing. And to hear you tell me about that little, what is it, a peek behind the corner?
Don't chase the monkeys.
So yeah, that's good advice. I will not chase any more monkeys. But why don't you give our audience a little bit of an idea of what it's like, and what you're seeing over here.
Okay, thank you again. I want to start with this quote that it says, "If you change your thoughts, you will change your world." And I want to start talking about since I am here, see, I see how I see Sweet's life change so dramatically. My thoughts have changed dramatically too. Because seeing Sweet every day struggling with his daily activities made my struggles. I see my struggles now in a different perspective, and it really has changed the way how I see my own world, being around him. And I think we don't appreciate things that very valuable things that we have every day, like simple things about getting out of the bed, and we just jump out the bed, we don't think about it, and we are up. And those are things that Sweet has to struggle every single day. Um, for example, I've been helping him every day with his daily activities and things like that. Very simple tasks are they can be so frustrating. And uh, Sui has helped me to see my world in a such a different way. Like he changed my world, and I'm here because I want to help him to improve his health, to help him to be happier, and we motivate every day together. And I think we make a great team together.
You definitely motivate
And
me.
That is
so I want to
that's
share
amazing
the
news.
thank you. Yeah, it is. I mean, I love to share what's going on with Sui every day. And today I'm going to share this footage about Sui doing push-ups every day. As soon I get in his bedroom, before getting out of bed, he's doing push-ups. We started with 10. It was so difficult at the beginning, and every time he gets better and better. And now we're going on 20 push-ups, and he's awesome. He's killing it.
Wow.
So
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
killing it.
I wanna share this with you guys, and I want you guys to take a look.
Okay, number 1, 10 push-ups. Good
You guys, they're not
job.
easy.
Good morning. Push-ups.
Okay, good morning. Today is 16 push-ups. 16. Woo! Give me 5.
Those aren't male push-ups. Those aren't female push-ups. Those are paralysis push-ups.
Today is going to be 19.
Hey, looking better.
Okay, I'm not
Low
gonna.
five.
This is. Good job.
Okay, Brad. 20 push-ups
Brat?
today.
Did you say brat?
You're a baby, bro.
Like, hell yeah. Wait, try.
Bravo.
I applaud you both. That's amazing.
Oh my
I'm
god!
so happy you're there, Caro.
I'm doing push-ups, right? And she's like, high five. I'm exhausted. Like, I know it doesn't look like a lot, but when your body is in paralysis, the muscles atrophy, and I'm working on getting back, and I will. But when I'm doing these push-ups, and she's like, you did so good, high five, and I'm like, I can't roll over. I'm like, those are the muscles I just exhausted to the core. And so like I was like low five, and she caught it on film.
That's great. Thank you, Caro.
It really does. It does make a huge difference. Having your presence here and having your mind focused on those priorities for me, that allows me to relax those aspects of my life and allows me to focus on other things. And there's a lot. This is an elaborate process that we're trying to execute here. And seriously, Carol, I know that you're working your ass off to help me in all these different ways, and I appreciate you all the way to the core. Thank you for that. Thank you for motivating me. And I look forward to having you come on a regular basis and talk to us about give people a look behind the curtain to see different types of things that are going on over here. So thank you very much. You're making an impact here. We appreciate you.
That was awesome, Caro. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, babe. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, this is a perfect time for us to bring in our guest. That was amazing, by the way.
Yes.
I didn't know you were doing all that. That's really great. I would love to introduce today's guest. She is an entrepreneur and just all-around awesome person who is helping out people everywhere. I'm going to put that back up. I was supposed to be looping. She is just an amazing human being with lots of stories to tell. So I would like to welcome Mabel Howard. Hello.
Yeah, man, I've been so excited about having you, Mabel. Thank you for blessing the Get Busy Living podcast.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be here today with both of you. So yay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So let's dig right into why you are here. I find you to be a huge inspiration. We did not know each other in high school, but in the Erie, Pennsylvania, Strong Vincent High School kind of way, everybody just friends each other on Facebook, right? Like if we're all friends.
You're in a loop.
Was that me?
With that.
Anytime we mention Erie, it's like saying the word of the day in the Pee Wee Herman show. Everybody goes crazy.
Yeah. What's the word, Swede?
The word for the day is hooray. Oh, Erie.
There you go. Okay. So that's what I love about actually our community is that we're just willing to be friends. Everybody's willing to be friends. Let bygones be bygones. And we're going to be friends. So I've been friends with you on Facebook for quite a while. We never said a word to each other, but I'm watching what you do. And I'm like, what? Who is this girl? Like, what is going on? Your life is incredible. And you're one of the people that you're in Erie. And I'm not going to say still because it makes it sound like, oh, you have somewhere to go. You are making an impact in Erie, Pennsylvania. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the work you're currently doing so we can wrap our heads around who you are and what you do.
Yeah, okay. So first I just want to say something about Erie, like and how I feel about Erie. I am an Erie advocate. Literally, I want everyone to stay in Erie. If you're visiting, come move back. I think there's so much here. I just feel like people have to learn to work with what we have. So that's a beautiful thing. I think part of my creative side and my willingness to tap into it is what keeps me excited in all sectors of my life, from serving the community, from being in the arts community as a literary artist and now curator, business owner, and all of that fun stuff. So I think
that's the first thing that impressed me about you is that you were running a poetry session. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So poetry. I tapped into the poetry scene about 2015. I wasn't trying to rhyme right there or anything, but
I noticed it. I liked it.
Yeah. So like in 2015, I started something called Poetry and Soul Food. And I wanted to create an atmosphere where like the people that were a little bit more shy and not really willing to express themselves in front of an audience, where they feel safe, getting up and sharing their talents on the microphone. And I thought, like, so if we serve somebody a meal, like serve the audience a meal, they won't really be focused specifically or completely on whoever's at the mic. So
Yeah.
wouldn't typically be all eyes on me. So that was successful. I got people to share their words that typically wouldn't. Again, because the atmosphere I feel was created, a safe space that people wanted to be. So that was beginning of poetry. Now I host about 72 events a year.
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot.
Well, that's a lot. I call poetry is my me time. So it's like what I do for my self-love and self-development. So I don't feel as if it's work, although it may look like it's that I'm working behind the scenes when I'm promoting my features and the people that are involved. It's something that I really, really love doing. So I look forward to every single session.
I've never been to one of these sessions, but they sound amazing. And I just want to say that, you know, in order for people to share their poetry, like they're sharing their thoughts and they're using their voice to do so. That's incredibly vulnerable position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is amazing that you're having this platform for people to do that.
Yeah. D-Rex. So should I call you D-Rex?
You can call me Diana or D-Rex. It's just a silly thing we're going with.
I love it, in fact. All right. So that's one of the compliments I feel that we get each time at a poetry session or poetry gathering is people feel as if they had a chance to heal by letting some of those words out that may have been bottled up inside. Even before your eyes, you feel as if I can too do that. So I feel like that's something that everyone shares and appreciates, and that's what keeps them coming back.
Wow. That's amazing. My daughter's name is Lyric. I've been a fan of word art
Mm-hmm.
as long as I can remember, and I never realized how significant it was in my life. I have to admit that it was several years into Lyric's life before it ever really manifested itself. And now, whenever I've got an opportunity to, you know, when you've almost died, people, it's funny, they don't waste any time telling you how they feel about you. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like they almost missed their chance, and so now they want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told by so many about the art of words that they think of when they think of me, and it's never been, you know, a goal of mine. But I guess, you know, kind of like in retrospect or in a dawning manner, like I guess I am, you know, an artist when it comes to words as well. Although
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, other than like trying to like, you know, I've written some girls' poems, but I've never like tried to like be a poet. And so when I got injured and my team was trying to figure out ways for us to do fundraising, and I told them that I didn't want to just ask for money. I wanted to offer something that would, you know, be something that was my effort towards, you know, their efforts. And so, you know, they came up with me doing a collection of my old Facebook posts, which a lot of them are poetic, and that's what that's one of our ongoing you know, one of our ongoing campaigns is we have a Life in the Air of Sweetisms book that's available for $25 or more. We're at the point right now where we're accepting reservations. Once we get 2,000 copies, then we're going to ship all the copies. We're going to send 2 people on an all expense paid trip, airfare included, trip to Alaska, and we're going to use the revenues that we generated to help someone walk again. And our guy right now that we're most interested in helping out with trying to get stem cell therapies for my guy Schaefer, which is also another youngster from Erie. So if you guys need information about that, you can look at our past episodes. You can go look at hswa.org, and there's a lot of information there. But yeah, the poetry thing is not something that I ever thought would become a part of me, but it is. And so when D-Rex told me that you were doing that kind of thing, that's when I started, like, you know, Facebook stalking you. And like after I hit you up, I was like, and blown away. Seriously blown away. Your page is just utter entertainment. I feel like I'm reading a magazine, looking at all the amazing things that you're out there doing. You know, so not only are you doing poetry readings, and having curating that environment, but you're doing these murals. You know, you're active with the HICAAE. You're at the Bethany House over there in my old neighborhood. And it's so much you're doing that is just like, wow, blowing me away. I don't even know how to wrap my head around it all.
Well, I feel as if everything that I do literally is intertwined and wrapped together. Like literally, I'm coming from the mural. Can you guys see the proof of my hands?
I love it.
Oh wow! Why don't you tell us about this mural? Not everybody would know.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. So we had a mural festival at the beginning of June, and some of the residents, we couldn't find enough buildings for the project. It was through Erie Arts and Culture. They wanted to put up about 28 murals in 12 days. So it's like the largest mural project we've ever had in the city of Erie. But since we didn't have enough buildings to start with, some of those are being completed now. So I am helping my cousin Antonio Howard, who's one of our community mural artists, along with a team of people or whoever in the community wants to stop by and put a stroke onto the wall. Just helping to paint and complete it and get it done. The title of his mural is actually called Community Outreach. And what's been most beautiful about that is just watching it happen before your eyes. Like we're literally inside of the parking lot of HICAE, like you mentioned earlier, which is the Historical Institute of Culture and the African American Experience. That's where this particular mural is being painted on the side of the museum. But we're watching people come out of the buildings around. And what's interesting is that they're all coming from different arts programs that we never knew existed in the neighborhood.
Oh,
So,
wow.
like, yeah, it's been pretty interesting to see that. How proud some of the older people, like maybe in their 70s and 80s, are coming out of like their woodworking classes. And they're definitely like master artists, but how they're showcasing their arts inside of like their little picture books and wanting to show us like, well, this is what we're working on and this is what we do. And we really appreciate what you guys are putting on the side of the building. So it's just nice to see how you can just grow from people in passing and how people appreciate each other's art sectors. So that's been pretty cool.
Speaking of safe, Lori says that's awesome, and we've got some other folks here that wanted to say hello. I want to give a shout out to my boy Boogie who has visited me now. My man Kiro is in that house. Kiro D, he went to school with us, and then as I'm doing this, I just wanted to say that when D-Rex brought me to my attention, I was like, yeah, man, she's sweet. I didn't talk to her much when in school, but every time we ever chatted, it was always cool. And then I reach out to you and we're chatting and you're like, oh, you probably know my sister. And I was like, oh, I thought you were your older sister. I thought you were my classmate, and I realized that you were a year behind us. And
Yeah.
I apologize, Lonnie. You were always sweet to me, but I obviously didn't change my attitude about what you're doing. And so next time you see your sister, if she's not tuning in, tell her I said hello. We've got some other folks. My man Scooty Wells is in that house. And so what got my attention, I got to admit, B List. So you remember this guy? Bobby List from SV, class of 96.
Hey, Bobby.
He said, Mabel. And he said it's 19 more than he can do. Check out Scooty Wells. He said, it must be something in water up there in Erie. Cases of rappers Tourette's running around. Because when me and Scott first met each other, he was helping me move. That's how you know we were going to be boys. Because helping somebody move is a big deal in manhood, And he's like day 2 of us hanging out together. He's helping me move. And like we were riding away from my old home towards my new home. And I was on a roll that day, and I guess you could say it's word art, but he was like, man, he looked over at me. He's like, how many different songs did you just quote in the past 30 seconds? And I was like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. He's like, dude, you got rappers Tourette's. Like everything that comes out of your mouth is like a rap song. So yeah, maybe it is a theory thing. I don't know.
I don't think so. But I do think there's a lot of creative people in Erie. And, that's actually why I think it's so amazing what you're doing, because I don't feel like there's a whole lot of outlets for creativity. And I think that, growing up in Erie when we did, there wasn't an expectation that someone should be creative or could express their creativity. The focus was really on like, find a job you can do. And it was like, that was it. And anybody who said, I want to be a singer, painter, poet, whatever, people would say, get real, like, find something real to do. But it's the realest thing you can do is creating art for other humans.
Yeah.
So your poetry session, I would like to hear a little bit about the kind of people that show up to that. Like, is there new people all the time?
Yeah, I would totally say there's new people all the time. And then we also have like our core group of people that show like poetry lovers, and then like people that were previous or former poet laureates, like those people that are really into poetry. Um, I feel as if there's people that come in that just want something to do and then learn that, oh, this is something I could really dig and get into. And then there's people that write, there's professors that come, there's people of all different levels that come together just to enjoy the variety of styles that are presented, the talent that's presented, the draw. There's some people we meet that we've no one in the building will know when they show up for one of the sessions, and other people come because their friends are there. So it's nice that we're all united through the arts. So something my cousin often says is art is an excuse to gather. So I believe that's what poetry does. It just brings
Love
people.
that.
And this isn't even your first community effort. Like you've been working in the community like your entire life, right? I mean, what's your first memory of helping in the community?
First memory of helping in the community. My mom opened our first business, or her first small business, which I was also a part of. I was in middle school. At the age of 14, my mom opened a martial arts and fitness studio.
Arts. Go figure.
Yeah, martial arts. Yeah, martial arts. Actually, martial arts is not considered an art when it comes to applying for grants, on a side note.
That's
yes.
That's interesting.
Don't make me karate chop somebody in the throat.
I'm not sure how effective that would be.
That's funny because when we were chatting and you told me where you were over at Bethany, it's literally like 4 houses down from where I learned karate back in 1986, 87, 88, 89-ish. Back in that time frame when I lived over on the Lower East Side, like the house that had the studio in it is like, I don't know if that house still exists, but I think it does. But it's right over there in between Bethany and where the Seawolves play. What's that place called?
The stadium.
Anyway, it's in my old neighborhood. So yeah, I did pretty good with karate, but I wasn't a martial artist.
So have you been doing martial arts since then? Like, is that when you started doing martial arts?
I think, I've been teaching classes since May of 1992. So again, my mom opened the studio. She got sick shortly after that. So I had to learn to run a small business at a really young age. It taught me the importance of responsibility. 14.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
14. Yeah. Pretty young, but now breathing, running businesses. But at that time,
I was plotting how to buy Nintendo games at 14, and you were plotting how to make businesses work.
I don't even think I was matching my socks at that point. So that's pretty amazing. Wow.
From school, from cheerleading practice to martial arts, and then teaching classes for the rest of the day. Basically had to keep the people coming back so we could keep the doors open. And I feel like that's what business is about in general. So I had to learn that at a really young age.
Wow. But, would you say that was, that business wasn't your idea to open, right? It was your mom's business and you ended up running it.
Right. Yeah. It was my mom's. It was my mom's business, and I always wanted to be like my mom. So
what was your first business that you opened?
My first business that I personally opened would be fitness consulting. Mabel is an acronym for the business that I've run for a really long time. It stands for Mind and Body Education Link. And everything that I do is completely intertwined with that. Like everything that I do, even today, like present today, is underneath that umbrella. So you guys asked about...
that you said...
Yes?
Go ahead.
Oh, no.
You said mind and body. And I think that's something that you said to me when we had a quick conversation on the phone last week, is that you are able to do all this stuff because you follow the energy. And when you say mind and body, I feel like that's part of what you're saying here. Would you agree?
Yeah. Where the mind goes, the body follows. So you cannot really separate the two. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you say that it's like mind coaching first?
I feel as if you can go either direction. I started a program a few years back for the community right now, where I work right now, Bethany Outreach Center, and it's called Martial Arts and Reading Sessions. So it's actually called MARS, is the acronym. And I feel like everyone's interested in learning martial arts, but most kids don't want to learn to read. So when you bring those two together, then reading can become exciting if you kind of do a little bit of healthy trickery. So at one point, I would have reading and then also martial arts. So the kids would come, they'd think we'd have martial arts first. They'd get to class early and want to leave early. And then I started to switch it around, like, oh, you don't know when we're going to do martial arts. And some of them would get here and martial arts, but it's time for reading. And they're like, oh, man. So
you tricked them.
Yeah. I feel like when you feed sides, like when you feed both sides, that's the best thing that you can do. But I feel like you can go either way. You can do something with just the body or with just the mind, but the most balanced person from a young person, like a kid, all the way to an adult, is the one that learns to balance both sides.
Wow, that's powerful. And, that's really relevant. What we're trying to do here with the Get Busy Living project is, build a community, and the energy that you bring and the type of attitude that you have about life. You were talking about your shine that you bring to the room. And that's the kind of thing that, I'm hoping that people will realize as they start to, kind of get used to what we're doing here with the Get Busy Living project. Yeah, we want to go out and have lots of fun and travel and like be out there doing things. But it's really about what you're doing on a daily basis to handle what was given to you in the best way to make the most out of what you can with it. And it's all about the energy that you bring to your experience in your situation, right? If you're dealt this set of a hand of cards in the real game of poker, you can win with any hand, right? In real poker, I don't know if you guys are familiar with how real poker, no limit poker works. It doesn't matter what your hand is dealt. If you know how to play the cards, you can still win. And that's what we want to be able to preach to people, if we can preach, is that it doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters what you do about what happens to you. And it all comes down to the energy that you bring to every day, and when we got on our call with you and we're talking about things about what's going on in your life, I was so excited to share this, because I really feel like if you can infiltrate our community and become a part of us and help us to bring that same kind of spirit and attitude every day, you really do have a way of turning, a situation into something that people want to be a part of. I can't say enough how impressed I am with every little avenue that you've taken as we've talked over your journey. Has always been like, you just kind of like, you remind me of like Snow White walking through the woods and like all of the flowers blooming and the birds chirping and the deers coming out looking, like you just have this way about you that just brings life to every situation. And to me, that's as busy as anybody can get with their living. And I love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So what
I wasn't able to get all these pictures up in time to show, because we kind of got them a little bit late today, but I do want to add this picture of you with the mural. And you happen to be wearing the same hat, which I love. Was this from today?
I literally came right from the mural to this interview.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
That's awesome.
Everything's
So this mural.
That was last minute.
This mural, where's this located?
So right now I'm in my 10th in German. So I'm actually at my office at Bethany Outreach Center right now, which is on 10th in German. But across from here is the African American Museum that I curated it. But on the outside is where this mural is painted. Actively right now, they're still painting.
Oh, wow. Man, I'm tempted to have you take your phone out there and let us get a live look, but no, let's stay on track.
So, yeah, that'd be amazing. But there's so much right here, like so much that you just said in the past 30 seconds. Yeah. Okay, so recently you helped. Is it that you helped launch the museum? You helped open it and curate it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's been a need for to focus on artists of color. in the Erie community for a very long time. So I had an opportunity to work with Bishop Curtis Jones and his wife, Pastor Vicki Jones, in a building that they have. They have actually two spaces, the old St. Mary's building, the church, and also the rectory. Both buildings are about 9,700 square feet. And they came to me about their idea of an African American historical museum. And then I introduced them to a vision that I had with the art sector and a need for us providing opportunities for artists. So they said maybe we can use that as a proof of concept. I shared with them the details of what we could do. They were in agreement with the vision, and we made it happen together. So on June 15th, we had the first exhibit of many. It's called the Break Free exhibit, showcasing artists of color at HICK, which again is the Historical Institute of Culture and the African American experience. It gave an opportunity to about 25 artists in different genres. So we have painters, we had performance arts, of course we had literary arts. The only thing that was missing at this point was sculptures. So just a beautiful time. It was very successful. The community was so supportive. We got a lot of support from the press, from the news. We had news anchors there. We had news reporters there writing stories, and we had people there just to enjoy the experience, just having a good time and enjoying the art from artists they had never met before. It was a beautiful time with unity in the community. So I was happy to be happy to lead a beautiful moment of history that all were welcome to be a part of.
Wow. That is absolutely beautiful because, I recall growing up in Erie and feeling like there were artists there. There's artists there, but people didn't believe that they could share their art. And the fact that you're opening up so many avenues for people of Erie to realize that creativity is important and that they are creative too. I can't even tell you how much I believe that is changing the culture of Erie and of the young people there. Just amazing. So, not only go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of young people, you mentioned that there was a deficit, for opportunities for art in your community, your community. I'm obviously referring to the African American community. And speaking of the youth, when I was 6 years old and walking to school every day to Piper Burley Elementary School over on 11th and German, right around the corner from there. When I was going to school every day, I got to that classroom. I had no way of knowing that there was a majority of white people in this country. I had no way of knowing that there was such thing as white privilege. I walked to school every day. My toes froze on the way to school because I was wearing sneakers in December. And I recall how differently, as I've grown into manhood and I've traversed so many paths around this country and then into other countries. And I've come back here, in utter need of help. And I've found out how there is a huge disparity in this country from one culture to the next. And the experience is different. You have to acknowledge that. If you don't, you're being ignorant. Opportunities, we like to think, are far better than they've ever been for everyone. And so when I left here 8 years ago, I guess, I was so tired of the materialism and the racism that was here in this country. I was tired of the division. I was tired of all the political angles. And I was really not appreciating what America had to offer. And then I submerged myself in other countries, and I've seen the difference. And it makes sense. Let me just say that it makes sense that there are issues of divide in this country. It's the only place on earth where immigration is the lifeblood and always has been since it was conceived. And so it should be understood and expected that when you put a bunch of different cultures in one area and allow them all the freedom to express yourself, that there's going to be some clashing. And I just really wish that we would stop arm wrestling and just start handshaking because then there would be more opportunities you wouldn't have a need for DoorDash to give you a discount to go to a black owned store. You would just naturally, everybody would have, a desire for us all to grow together, seriously. And to see that there are pride and there is, a movement to try to lift each other up. I think that more of that should be encouraged instead of looking at someone from another culture, whether it's Asian, Spanish, Black, Indian. I mean, the United States is full of everywhere now. Instead of seeing someone else, trying to lift their community up and viewing that as they're trying to suppress yours on their behalf, why don't we just look at each other and say, how can we help each other? I'm a product of human kindness, and I don't think there was a color on that kindness. I'm pretty sure that everybody that came to rescue me wasn't looking at me because they were trying to help a white guy. They were just trying to help a friend, right? And if more of that were present, if we were able to just help someone because we want to help them rather than because of what their culture is, then we would stop seeing that and start allowing it and helping all people, and the fact that there is a need for an HICEAA, because that is important. That's something to be proudful of. It's been a huge contributor to the American growth on this planet, and it's something that should be celebrated. And when others that aren't a part of the African American experience see that, they should be proud of that too. Like, wow, that's happening in this country where you're allowed to express yourself and try to grow in this country. And you should be able to do it without any kind of oppression, without kind of feeling competition of culture. We're all here for the same reason. We're all here to achieve what America has to offer. That's an opportunity to grow, to capitalize on this opportunity and what you're given. So I think it's so great that you're doing that. And I don't think there's any way to view it other than that. Congratulations. You should be celebrated everywhere you go in that community and abroad, because what you're doing is seriously commendable. And I'm so proud of you for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I would like to pick up on something you said where you were saying everybody should just, want to help each other regardless of anything. And something that Mabel said on the phone to me is, but you know what, we didn't really introduce this part of you properly, is that what is the work you do at the Bethany Outreach first? If you could just lay the groundwork for us.
Absolutely. So Bethany Outreach Center, we provide hope to individuals and families that are in need. The focus that we have here is providing food, providing clothing, and education with an emphasis on literacy and healthy living.
So how can we encourage our audience to go? What would we tell them about the Bethany? Do you know what their website is?
Yes, Bethany Out. So we are www.bethanyoutreachcenter.org.
So something interesting you told me about this is that you help everybody and you do not judge. Yes. And I love that, because I think a lot of people find it very hard to not judge. So what did you mean by that? What's the judgment struggle that you were referring to?
So everyone feels different, everyone feels differently about people that are in need. Some people feel like if you drive up in a car that's fancier than mine, then I shouldn't have to serve you. When I recently, had that experience where someone's like, well, that person just drove up in a Cadillac. And I'm like, well, what if that Cadillac breaks down when they get to the corner? And they're like, they had like a, oh, wow moment, like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. But what I like to reinforce in every person that comes through our doors, our volunteers, our helpers, and also the people that we serve, is that we really don't know what people are going through. I personally don't believe that people go out of their way to stand in a line to receive just the basics to get by. So my motto is, we're here to serve and not to judge. And if a few people get away with it 1 week or 1 month throughout the year, it doesn't matter. It balances out to, we showed people kindness, like the majority of people that were in need. And also if that person was trying to get over, they needed to experience a little kindness as well. So it won't harm us to provide extra kindness to the community. We
Mm-hmm.
can all be healed by that.
Thank you. That is such a wonderful way of seeing it. Rather than worrying about somebody getting a nickel on you,
Hmm.
let them have the nickel. Let them
Yeah.
have it. Even though you're only passing out pennies, fine. Next,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that far too often we focus on, so we are naturally designed to focus on, survival. So risk avoidance is a far more keen process in our brains than pleasure seeking. And so that lends to believe or make it, reasonable that, we pay far more attention to bad news than we do good. And one apple can spoil a whole bunch, but you can't put a good apple in a bad bunch and have it get better. Like, right. So we do, it is so much easier for negativity to spread in all ways on every psychological level for human beings. And so, for you to come across like that is, man, I'm just really blown away. I think that more people, need to be aware. And I remember when I was, I don't know, probably about knowing what the neighborhood I was in. I was over on 10th and Ash. My mom used to live a house or two over from the corner there, and we were in the back alley there playing on a roof. Don't make no jokes. We were playing on a roof, and one of my friends was that I had just been at my house with. He was my mom's friend's son. We were just at the house. We were talking about what we were going to do later, and then we go over. We meet up with a bunch of other kids. And we climbed up on this roof. There's like 7 or 8 of us, all from the neighborhood, playing like on this garage roof. And then like we all kind of like broke up and we're going to go our separate ways. And one of the kids like, hey, he's like, little sweet, what are you going to do? Where you going? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, Carl, are we still going to the soup kitchen? And he looked at me. He was like, what? And I was like, well, I can't remember the kid, who the person was, Jimmy or whatever. Jimmy wanted to know what we were doing. I told him we are going to go to the soup kitchen. He should meet us there. He was like, I ain't going to no soup kitchen. I don't know what you're talking about. And all the kids started making fun of me because I admitted that I was going to the soup kitchen. I didn't know that was a bad thing. I thought it was like eating at a restaurant, and I was happy about it. But at the house earlier, when we were all hungry as shit and there was no adults around, like, we can go down there and eat. I didn't know that it was something to be made fun of, and then I go out there and I got made fun of for that, and that like has stuck with me. And ever since then, man, I feel like that was a turning point in my life where I was like, man, I'm not going to be one of those people that shames people and makes fun of them all the time. And look, I was a teenager. I've called kids names. I'm not perfect, but I feel, and I intend to continue being someone that lifts people up and encourages them and tries to bring people together. Because, I really feel like happiness is no good if you're not sharing it with someone. And that's, I begin this podcast every week with nothing is worth having if it's not worth sharing. And the so many of the things that you're doing, whether it's the at the Bethany House or if it's at the poetry reading, this is you putting yourself out there. You're sharing yourself. And D-Rex, remember when after we chatted with her and you were like you described what a room might be like that she would walk into, and you're like, I bet when she walks in, and you were talking about synchronicity and vibing. Talk about that.
And
you made some
what I actually do want to, I want to get to that because I feel like there's a very important part of this story that we're missing. There's so much to talk about. I really could talk to you for an additional hour.
So you
I
trying to say you want to have an after party?
Maybe, but I think that it was important the way she was talking about helping to. There's no shame in that, in accepting help from Bethany Outreach. I think that the way that you reach out to them with kindness and love erases that shame of asking for help. And I think that that's something everybody needs to think about is asking for help is not shameful. Asking for help is just another human connection.
Right.
And I think it's great the work you're doing there. But what I really want to get to talk about is that you actually opened a bakery. In addition to all this other crazy stuff that you've been doing, you opened a bakery. How did you get the idea for that?
Yeah. So my mom's my best friend. So
That's sweet.
yeah. So my mom's birthday is on 7/10. Name of our bakery is actually Cafe 710. I always spend most of my downtime in in bookstores and also in cafes, coffee shops. And my mom loves to bake and cook for everyone, mainly large groups. So I thought, how can I mesh those two passions together and be able to spend a little more scheduled time with my mom and also make a little bit of money in the process? And then so that was the birth of Cafe 710. So we're Cafe 710. When I went to go look at locations, because it was actually a gift to my mom from me for my birthday, the cafe was. The
Oh,
first,
nice.
yeah. So the first address that came up was 7 West 10th Street on the internet. So I'm like, I don't
What?
think I have to look any further. Like
That
this
is
is it.
crazy.
Yeah, it was really crazy that I went to go tour the space. The landlord was amazing. The space was the perfect size. And I'm like, this is it. I literally do not need to look at any space at all. So
Wow.
that was the birth
Here,
of
I'm
Cafe
I'm gonna
710.
put some of your desserts up here because it
Oh,
just
yeah.
looks amazing.
Thank
So that's something that's let's say unusual that would happen. It's just I would
you. Mhm.
say that hey, that's a coincidence. But I
Yeah.
mean, do you believe that that was a coincidence?
Well, I believe in divine interventions and also divine connections. I believe it was a divine appointment. Like this was a specific place that we were supposed to be in the community. The way we treat like our cafe is if it's an extension to our dining room table. So most people that come in, whether they're into like just grab desserts or just kind of want to come and hang out and chat with someone for a bit, they feel as if they're part of our family. We're sitting down, hanging out, and eating at the dining room table and having a discussion. So our cafe is just an extension of our home to the community. So just natural.
Kind of what
That's
Gloria's talking about right here. She says, just saying
amazing.
hello to everyone you see and please and thank you, or just simply being kind to all people. It's just one small thing you can do to help. And it's like, yeah, that's 100% true. Thank you, Lori. But Mabel, you're taking it to another level, and it seems to come so naturally to you.
I just
Yeah,
know
that's the
of
thing. It just seems like her.
yeah,
That's what she does.
yeah.
I'm surprised that your cafe, I mean, I get the 710 reference. And
Hmm.
you said that was also your mom's birthday, right?
Yeah, it is my
That's
mom's
So,
crazy.
so
yeah. So I think that like anybody with brains would say, well, that's got to be more than a coincidence. It's just too much. Like
So wait,
at a certain point you have to drop all of your notions about coincidence and you have to be like this is meant to be.
your mom's birthday is July 10th,
yes,
and
on Monday.
the space that you stumbled upon
Yes.
was 7 West 10th.
Yes. And was
Get out
also
of here. If you're in Erie, go to 7 West 10th and get you some goodies, man. That is it. There's magic
I mean,
happening over there.
and I know it, and I mean, don't you think this looks incredible? Like you definitely need to patronize this place, and they sound like amazing people to hang with. What I really like is that these businesses that you shared with me so far, they usually have acronyms and they usually have a combination of ideas. Like it seems like you like to bring two things together into one so that it
yes.
pushes people outside of their comfort zones. And I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. It's very special. And I love your unique take on that, like with the martial arts and the reading, or with the
Hmm.
soul food and the poetry.
Hmm.
And here it's like community gathering and food once again. And just I can't even I can't even imagine like trying to start one business in Erie when I was young. And you've been doing so much in Erie since then. I wonder what was the difference between me and you um, growing up, where I didn't know it was possible to own a business or start a business, and for you it just like boom, boom, boom. And do you think that maybe that had to do with your adult guidance when you were young?
Well, so I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Like my grandma and grandpa. My grandfather used to actually have like a rubbish truck business, so he would just pick up trash to help raise money for their family. My grandparents had 19 children, so they had
Whoa.
way to raise money to, not only feed their own children, but also the whole neighborhood, because everyone loved just visiting. And my grandma always cooked for the whole neighborhood. That's like something that people even talk about from today. And I believe like when my family, even when my family had nothing, like my grandparents had what would be considered nothing, they always had the ability and willingness to give. And I think that when you're willing to give, it always comes back. So that law of attraction with the giving and receiving and the law of reciprocity, like all that's true. I've witnessed it my entire life. If you help enough people get what they want, you will eventually have whatever it is that your heart desires. So
Amen.
just can't do wrong by helping and giving to people. So back to making things happen as a business owner, my mom saw that in her parents. My grandmother used to do fundraisers for the church, just creating pies, making pies, cooking food for the church and selling it to the families and the members to help raise money for the church. My mom saw that. She helped out with that. And then that went over into my uncle is Billy Blanks. So he used to have like martial arts
Bad
tournaments.
boy Billy Blanks.
Yeah.
He was my
I
hero.
remember hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing about your connection to him in high school because he was our local celebrity, and I was like, oh, those are the girls that are related to him.
Yeah.
You're like a little famous in my eyes.
Yeah, so even with that, like my mom and my grandmother used to help cook for those large tournaments where there'd be hundreds of people
Wow.
there. They would just cook something really simple, but the people were willing to pay for it. So they learned like different ways to
That's
make
cool.
money build into my mom. And I've only seen her work hard for herself most of her life. So I knew that was something I wanted to do. The first time I even saw my mom lead a group of women, she used to teach for the community at the Martin Luther King Center. She used to teach an aerobics class. And I just remember at the age of 9, like just looking at my mom in awe, like thinking like, I want to do what my mom's doing. Like I saw it as if like she was leading these people and making them happy. And I felt like I want to
Wow.
do it today. Like, and I knew I wanted to do it at the age of 9.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
Well, that's definitely it then. Incredible role models. And now you're being one yourself.
Oh,
So you're just continuing the tradition. And before we actually wrap this up today, I was wondering if you have any of your poetry you could share with us.
sure. Let's see. What shall I share? I like to share a poem. It's called
Goody.
I know.
Yeah, I like to share most of the poetry that I write that I'm willing to share is positive, and it's usually for healing in some capacity. So I had a young lady stop by the cafe. I'm going to wrap this all the way around. And she chatted with me for a very long time. None of the things that she had to say were beautiful parts of her life, but it inspired me to write once she exited the building. So this piece just speaks of healing, and it's called Set the Beast Free. It breaks me when one cannot see beauty because the beast was unleashed. When we open up, allowing others to gain trust, a roar begins because it's threatened by the opening of gates that have been sealed with threats, trauma, and lies. The enemy uses this as a secret device, separating us from all we're meant to be: free, empowered, bold, unique. The process of healing may not be a good feeling. You have to face your fears, and this may bring many tears. But cry for as long as you need to. Drown out the beasts, the voices heard that are keeping you from peace. Then take out a pen and write. There's power in words, so speak life. You're destined for greatness, and soon you will see. Once discovering the power of your beautiful story, you'll set the beast free.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That was awesome, man. I got to tell you, each week I'm pleasantly surprised. This week, I don't think I've been more excited about having a guest. I don't know if it's because my daughter's name's Lyric and you are a word artist or not, but I've been super excited, and I couldn't be happier and more thankful for you being here. Mabel, I hope that you will become a part of our community. We're here every Thursday, but we got a lot of stuff going on in the background that I'd love to share with you. I think a lot of the things that we're doing, big picture wise, are things that you'd be interested in. So please, by all means, continue to share in the way that you do. D-Rex and I both have big picture interests in helping out in our hometown community. And we're both headed in a direction where we're going to be able to do that someday. In the meantime, hopefully drawing some attention to you so that people can see what a true model in the community looks like. Someone that's sacrificing their time and putting forth such genuine effort to do really good things. I hope that, that shining some light on you is just a glimmer of help, if nothing else. So thank you again, D-Rex. By all means, shower this girl with some sunshine.
Oh, thank you for sharing your beautiful words and your vision, and everything that you're doing is so inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you both. It's a pleasure to be in both of your presence. I do appreciate you taking the time to get to know me better as an adult. I know both a little differently than you may also know. So I'll reach out to you guys later and tell you a little bit about that. But I appreciate what you're doing for the community and all the hearers today. And again, thank you for having me as a guest.
Couldn't be happier about
anytime.
It. Hell yeah.
Anytime.
And so, always remember, we're all in this together.
Yes.
Always remember, no matter the weather, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Yeah. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah?
Yay!
Hell yeah.
I don't like one.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
When you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking word, but it's fucking word.